Designed it to both be like an interesting, different take on a scooter because I was kind of bored by how most of the scooters look, but also just like absurd because bubbles. I built it all like around an old scooter that I had, and I like 3D printed this whole enclosure and built a whole bunch of custom electronics for the blinkers, the rear view cameras, and the bubbles and all of that. Today I'm riding it around New York City.
You made this?
Yeah.
So you're a maker?
Yeah.
You're a bubble machine.
I love making almost any kind of thing. I just love the whole process of like having an idea and going from idea to something that exists. That's like one of the most rewarding things in the world for me. I feel like I've been bouncing back and forth between doing that with software and physical projects since I was a kid. I would just like take apart all the toys that I had to try and figure out how they worked and pull the wires out of them and just like make weird things with all the like LEDs and components and motors that I could find in them. And then when I ran out of my toys, I'd convince my brother to let me take apart his toys under the pretense that I'd be able to like get them back together, but I never could. Oh, it turned on. It's a Raspberry Pi camera. We took a like stone and carved into it to like embed it into the stone. A Stone Age camera, so it's very slow. Not intentionally, actually. My friend Sebastian actually brought this to my wedding and shot a bunch of photos from our wedding on it. I like stuff like this. It's a camera, but it's a rock. Just like little things like that where I get to combine the software and the physical. Anywhere that I'm able to like make something like that come to life feels like magic to me. It is super rewarding. Since I was a kid, I was obsessed with Apple and really wanted an iPhone and wanted nothing more than to make iPhone apps. And I remember my dad was like, you know, that's like kind of hard, like don't be like too upset if you like can't figure that out in the beginning. And I was like, that just made me want to figure it out even more. Oh, yeah, it does something. It's got the little battery. It was the first thing that I developed any software for. I mean, I begged for it for a long time. I really wanted an iPod Touch or an iPhone or anything. Steve Jobs and Apple and the iPhone and all of that were like a really big inspiration to me as a kid. I can also try plugging in some of the other iPhones. It just felt like a new relationship that you could have with computers, that it was like actually like with you all the time. Whoa. Oh my God, there actually are some apps then. Actually, it says copyright HarryWorks 2009, so I was 12 years old. This was called Probe Destroyer, and these little robots would fly at you. And you had to shoot the robots that were flying at you. And then they'd burn up in flames. Even then, I liked space. Wow, I actually did not know that this still worked. That was like the thing that I was, that I threw myself into as a kid. Like it was my life. Like I didn't do school. I had some friends, but like not a huge social life. And I just, yeah, I was obsessed with it. It's funny to see like software written by a child. Like I feel like you don't normally see like the brain space of a child like doodled out through software. That it was like really weird, the stuff that I was making as a kid. And I feel like now my stuff's getting weird again. I made this little pocket watch where you can design your own watch faces for it. And we have a little like designer on the computer, and people can like, you can design your own fonts, and you can use AI to generate little like pixel art images and configure your own faces for it. In my creative practice, like it took me a little like oscillating back and forth between like some useful things and some weird things and some physical things and some digital things to sort of figure out like what I like and what feels the most to me. by like middle school and then high school, I started making like more real apps, and I made an app called ISS Finder that helps you like track the International Space Station. I was really into astrophotography as a kid, and you could, the app would help you know when the space station would be overhead, and you could go out and see it, or you could do like long exposure shots, or some people who did like ham radio stuff would use it to be able to talk to the astronauts when the station came overhead. But it's one thing to know like where is the space station, and it's another thing to know like is it visible to you right now. There's me, there's the satellite, and there's the horizon, and you need to make sure that in that triangle like the satellite is like above the horizon and above the tree line and stuff like that. And the satellite can't be behind the Earth because it can't be in the Earth's shadow. You can also figure out the visual brightness of it. It was me learning math that other people who are smarter than me figured out in order to use to put it in a pretty web app. I think 500,000 people like in total used it like at its peak, and it was used by some astronauts who had been aboard the space station. These are my 4 3D printers. I have 2 FDM printers is what they're called, and 2 resin printers. Part of what I enjoyed about 3D printers from the beginning is like that integration, like the software and the hardware together, and having the stuff on the computer like then become physical in front of you. I started this series online a couple years ago where I redesigned existing products. I think technically the bubble scooter was the most viral thing. A couple of the videos for that got a few million views, but I think that the thing that I get like stopped for like in public or recognized or that people are most interested in is the speakers. So each one is its own independent unit that kind of looks like a smile. The volume slider is this little tongue over here. You can also pair it with a friend magnetically by just snapping them together, and then they'll play the same thing together, and you can chain them, but I only made 2, so this is as much as you can chain right now. Most rewarding part of sharing it online has been like actually making friends IRL because of it. All the people that I know that I'm working on my projects now with, and a lot of my closest friends are people that I met through the internet or through connections made through the internet from sharing my work. It's definitely weird like putting your face on the internet. You can sneak a little bit of fun in the back door once you've made something that is like useful to them. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to make a lot weirder things with technology, and I feel like the barrier to entry has dropped so much. This project is a USB that you can wear as a necklace, but it also looks like a piece of jewelry when it's off, but then it has this little screen behind the stone that turns on when you're using it and shows you little like animations when you're interacting with the flash drive, like when you're reading and writing to it. I feel like people haven't really tried to reimagine like what a flash drive could look like. For the animations for the flash drive, like I was able to build a web designer for our animator to go in and like draw the pixel art animations online and then like preview them onto the device. I feel like it's been a superpower for me. I feel really lucky that the thing that my mind latched onto as a kid was programming. In some ways, maybe like there's gaps in my knowledge, but also like I don't think I would have the breadth of knowledge that I have if I tried to learn like all of these things the right way. Honestly, I have trouble learning in the abstract, and I think that was another thing that I struggled with. Was school was like I can't just like memorize something if it's not like particularly useful to me at the moment. I just don't care. But if it can be tied to like something that I'm doing or something that I'm trying to understand about the world, then I'm obsessed with it. I feel like if you just sort of break it down into the steps until you can figure out something that you could watch a YouTube video for, or that you could Google or whatever, that you can learn a lot more than you think you could. These are some of the web projects that I've worked on too that I'm really proud of. This one is Supercluster. It's trying to be like basically a database for all things space. I got connected with them a while back because they were looking to make an app to show the upcoming launches, because they have a great database of like all the upcoming like space launches, and you can go and see like a live stream of them. You get like a cool countdown. But then over the past it's like almost 4 or 5 years now, we've like slowly built out the functionality. We added an astronaut database. It's the only like full comprehensive list of like every living thing that's been to space. You can see every fungus, every mouse, every fruit fly, and every human that's been to space. Then we also integrated the space station tracking functionality from the app that I made as a kid into Supercluster. It's like the same backend that has been like evolving since I wrote it in high school. All these people are in space right now, and they're actually not far away from us. Actually, it just passed over our head a couple minutes ago. More of a labor of love, more than just like, yeah, being hired to make an app. I know a lot of websites and things that I work on are in service of something, some commercial end, but Supercluster is really just about like getting people excited about space, and that was what ISS Finder was too, and the way that people engaged with it was really cool. I would get emails all the time from like a grandmother who used it with their grandchild to see the station for just a moment. I worked on this website, like with Grand Army designing it and me building it, and they do like delivery from space. I really enjoy getting to put my own little creative touch in things like the animations. So like for this site, it's got a little like cursor animation that's a re-entry burn. So if you just like put your mouse through the logo, then it like catches on fire like it's like a rocket ship like re-entering orbit. Probably most software that most people engage with day to day makes their day a little bit more annoying. Like if you have to like fill out a form on a website or like do anything for your bank or whatever, it's probably just annoying and you're upset that you're there. And so I feel like if I can make a website that makes you smile for a second, or at least doesn't make you frown, then I'll be happy. Both Inversion and Supercluster use Sanity for the back end. It's just been a very convenient way to stand up a database for projects like this. I also ended up doing things with Sanity that I think probably nobody else is doing because we just had a lot of like weird edge case needs. People get particular about what order astronauts went to space in, and there's a logic to it. Even if like 5 people went on the same space flight, it's based on military rank or whatever, and then we use the mission launch date combined with the rank of the people in the mission to then automatically derive like the astronaut number and things like that. So there's just a lot of like interconnected information and a lot of like stuff that I did on the back end in order to try to dynamically derive information. The team that was collecting the astronaut database stuff was using like an Excel spreadsheet before, and then I like got them into Sanity for all of this, and I think that they're much happier now. I think for me, space, it elicits that sense of awe, that sense of like, wow, it's insane that all of this exists and that we're humans on a rock in the middle of nothing, and connect with the fact that we are in this like broader ecosystem helps me maintain that sense of awe and remind me that most of the shit that I worry about just doesn't matter that much, and that maybe to some people that would be depressing, but to me it's kind of like inspiring and beautiful of just like, it doesn't matter, you can make up your own meaning. It's absolutely insane that this all exists, like that I'm a sentient being in the middle of like outer space on a rock. Space is there, and there's a lot of people who are very excited about space, and I didn't give people space, but I try to make things that help you appreciate it more. I genuinely am like in awe of being alive every day. I'm amazed by the planet. I'm amazed by the things that I get to do, and I'm amazed that I get to live in New York City and make weird stuff with my friends, and it feels harder for me not to do anything, as I'm just like, there's so much stuff here to do.